Hey, you amazing friends. I'm with legendary Melitta Campbell and her publisher, Bernie Davies. How you doing, Bernie Davies?
Oh, I'm excited. I am over the moon. I'm loving your background. Where are you actually?
Well, I don't want to spend too much time talking about me, albeit I love talking about me, but I'm in beautiful Darling Harbour in Sydney. And
Wow, beautiful. Fantastic.
I had to pick this location to respect the amazing Bernie and Melitta's incredible new book.
Yes, I am very thrilled to have Melitta as my first author emerging in my new publishing house. But then she's not doing it small, Ed, because, like I always tell people, everybody has a book in them. But this young lady, I always jokingly, we call ourselves young lady, don't we? Even though I'm grandma. This young lady had 9 books in her sitting, didn't you, Melita? And a conversation last year, she decided, you know what, Bernie, it's about time I get those books out of my computer, out of my archives, and out to the world. And together we've been working on them. And the first one is, drumroll, A Shy Girl's Guide to Networking. And may I add, Ed, in the first 3 days of it being on pre-order, it reached number 2 hot new
Oh,
release in Amazon, and it's already bestseller, already in both the UK and the Swiss Germany listing. So I am so thrilled, guys. Over to you guys. I'd love to introduce my amazing author, Melitta Campbell, entrepreneur and business coach to ladies.
oh, Melitta, tell us all about you and your book. Melitta, great to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it was really tough because I first mapped out this book about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was going to be all about how to start a business and how to juggle everything. Because I think a lot of people think they start a business and then it all works, and there's this big sticky bit of chaos in the middle that nobody predicts. And so I wanted to make that okay and how to navigate that part. But I was never getting around to actually writing it. And then I met Bernie through networking. And we were talking about my book, my idea, and she goes, oh, well, I'm a book mentor. Let's talk about this. And actually what we realized once I pulled everything together, that this book was going to be like a monster. So let's break it down into some digestible, smaller books. And I decided to start with networking rather than building a business, because that's really been my journey. Because sort of 20 years ago, I was so shy. I really, really struggled to, well, I did okay in my career, but I wasn't advancing because, the network isn't just about getting clients. It's about really developing yourself, finding new opportunities, learning, all of that. So it was really restricting me. So I had to figure out how to make that work. So it was all about finding a way that worked for me, because all the books kind of assumed that you were okay just walking in a room of people to network, which is my biggest struggle. So I developed a whole formula to help me do that and set my own rules.
I was going to say, on that note, I'm obviously not female. However, even though I'm obviously male, that book title resonates with me because I know what it's like being shy, being nervous, being insecure, and going networking and being terrified to even get out of the car. I can relate to that.
Yeah, it was. I think the big game changer for me was to create my own rules. Before I was really beating myself up because I said something stupid, or I should have been this, or I should have been that. And instead I thought, you know what? If I go and have one conversation, that's a success and that's okay. And if I go and mess up, that's great, because it's proving that I'm actually doing this. So I really turned the tables and created this set of rules. And one of them was to do something every day that scares you. And this wasn't like jumping out of a plane. This was calling someone on the phone
jump off the edge, baby.
instead of emailing.
Jump off the edge, baby, and jump on those people, perhaps.
Yeah, nothing that scale, but really just these little things, because that would build my confidence. And I later found out that the lady that had that quote, Eleanor Roosevelt, I always thought that she was this big presence out there inspiring people the whole time. But no, she was a classic introvert. She hated networking. It was only later in life that she became comfortable with public speaking and networking. And so I like the idea that that was perhaps one of her rules too.
Oh my God. Look, this sounds incredible. And I suppose it's an obvious question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But if I buy and read your book, how will I be forever transformed?
It gives you permission to network and be yourself. And I think that doesn't just apply to networking, it applies to everything else you want to do. It really, I start with my victory formula, which is what I created to help me network. And it starts with creating a vision, getting intentional about that, building your courage and confidence, being true to yourself, having a backup plan to handle those obstacles, creating your own rules, and then proving to yourself that, yeah, you've got this. So I think all of that applies to any aspect of life. And I think once you learn how to apply that to your networking, you can apply it to anything. And then you have the 3 areas of how to build your network. And what I discovered was it's what you do before and after that really makes the difference. What just showing up wasn't enough. And that was the bit I was struggling with. So once you have a network, well, you guys are the masters of this. You'll know it transforms everything. I've really discovered that your network is really your ultimate shortcut to anything you want in life, because you always, if you have any kind of question, there's always someone you can turn to for help and support. And I also look at online networking and your personal brand as well, because that's a key part of showing up and being
honestly, Ed, it's power packed. The book is power packed. You know, I network and I've written my own book on networking, and I eat, sleep, and drink networking. And I'm telling you, I learned a lot working with Melitta in this book. So guys, come on. You've got to get your copy.
Bernie, what was your, I know Melitta's your client, you're trying to be nice to her, but honestly, what was your biggest thing out of the book? What was the biggest thing that Melitta said that you said, yes? What was the biggest thing you picked up as a publisher?
There are quite a few things, but the one that I find, which seems so simple, but if you don't get it, then you will never be successful networking: conversation. And she gave some practical tips about how you can just lead and guide conversations, how you can ask certain questions as it opens up certain areas. Honestly, that for me was wow, you know. And I don't mean she just said it. She actually gave practical examples that you could go out and use. You know, the victory formula as well is incredible. Really, really good. Yes. And then at the end, you have certain checklists, so it keeps you on track. So it's not a book that you read and put down. It's a book that you use as a companion guide that you're always referring to, and it comes to life and keeps you growing. I don't want to say too much, Melitta, but you talk about your success journal as well. That's going to be accompanying that book.
I was just going to say one thing. It's not really a book. It's really a work guide, isn't it?
It's a working guide.
Yep. Melitta.
Yeah, originally in my original books, there was going to be a chapter on, say, marketing, and then I was going to tackle the mindset part of that. So maybe it would be a fear of getting visible. But this book is now a kind of a blend. So throughout, knowing how powerful your mindset is, and just how I think a lot of introverts really underestimate the power that they really have and the gift they bring to networking. And I really wanted them to understand that and feel comfortable moving forward. But I've had extroverts read the book as well, and they've taken things away. It's written from my perspective as a shy girl, but it's for boys and girls and extroverts, introverts. I think everyone can have something to take away from it. But yeah, the success journal is something that I learned later, and I wish I had it from the beginning to really help me stay on track and keep building my confidence. And it would have been much easier to write the book if I had, because I would have had all my stories there too.
Beautiful. And Melitta, final word to you. What are your closing thoughts, Melitta?
Well, I would just like to say thank you to Bernie, because she became a publisher during the process, but she was just this amazing book mentor. And she has this incredible system called your U-print. And that's what she really helped bring out of me was so I've really learned and grown through this process as well, having met Bernie as a mentor. And I think as with everything in life, you can't succeed on your own. You need other people around you to give you that reflection, feedback, guidance. And Bernie has done that and so much more.